Welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast. So happy you are here. My goal with this channel is to bring inspirational speakers to the mic in the field of yoga, massage, bodywork, and beyond. Follow us at Native Yoga and check us out at nativeyogacenter.com. All right, let's begin. Hello, welcome to Native Yoga Toddcast. I love doing this show, and it's because I have special guests like Jack Westerholt to bring to you today. I follow him. Go on his description below, Instagram at Jack Westerholt, and also he teaches at a studio in Texas called YogaZama. So I want to give a little props to another studio out there. Great work, everybody. Let me just say the theme of this conversation, what could I do better tomorrow? Listen all the way to the end where Jack and I mull over a concept of a question of what could I have done better yesterday? And then how we evolve into this understanding of what could I do better tomorrow? And, we cover a lot of different topics, but I think what I really appreciate about Jack is just his down to earth, just chill vibe and relation with yoga and the way he speaks on it. So I'm really glad you're here. If you can share an episode with a friend and or fellow yoga practitioner, I really appreciate it. Send me and Jack a message through any of our platforms and channels just to say whether you enjoyed this episode or not. Any sort of engagement is greatly appreciated. And just thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy the show. Let's get started. Jack Westerholt. I feel honored to be here with Jack Westerholt. And Jack, thank you really so much for taking time out of your day to join me and speak with me. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, Todd. Thank you so much. It's anytime I get to talk about yoga with another yogi, I love it. I'll make all the time in the world for it. So thank you. I love what you're doing. I love the podcast, as we were saying right before we press record. You're doing such a great thing by capturing all this knowledge for the community. So thank you for doing that.
Oh man, I really appreciate it. Well, it's an honor to have you here. And I agree with you. Any chance we get it to talk about yoga and how it's helped us in our life, I think that's part of the motivation here is to keep everybody excited about yoga and stay motivated. Can you tell me a little bit about what currently gets you excited to engage in yoga practice?
It's a great question. Right now, I am very into self-study, svadhyaya. So I read a lot. I have a library of books I'm constantly reading. And so I really find it inspiring to read the words of, I read the Gita every day, of course, but I'm reaching out. I've read a lot of books by Shivananda, and right now I'm into one from, his name is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he's a big proponent of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Yes.
And yeah, so reading his books has been very, very inspiring to me. And one time when I was first starting out, I read that, that you can't achieve the goal just by reading books. And it made me laugh because I'm like, well, I like to read, so that's a good lesson.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we hear this idea of like, armchair yoga. Like until you get on your yoga mat, you won't really achieve any real depth in yoga. But I think there's got to be concessions there because there is something to be said for scholastic study. Study whatever we're interested in. So, do you feel now that you could let go of asana and pranayama and read about yoga and actually feel like you're able to achieve a state of yoga? Because I believe that's possible. I think you can get pretty deep by mulling over ideas and taking in new information.
Absolutely. The Jnana path, where the study path is is to me just one of the many paths that I like to practice all of them together. So it probably takes the most time in my yoga practice right now, but I feel like it's essential to keep doing pranayama, to keep doing meditation. And I find that my meditation is just growing deeper and deeper. I'm sitting longer naturally, not setting an alarm or anything, just I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I want to meditate and it's answers are coming all the time. Um, so if I don't, some days the only thing I do is I read, and that's my yoga practice that day, and I'm okay with it. But I do see the benefit in keeping it part of a holistic approach, where you're doing a little bit of asana, you're doing the pranayama, you're doing some mantra, you're reading, and of course, just out in the everyday world, practicing the yamas and niyamas, right? That's the proof. I think everyday life is the proving ground of, you know,
Yes.
how how your practice is going.
It
Can
can,
you be kind to people?
you know, if we imagine that a listener has never taken a yoga class before and is heard you just say yamas and niyamas, could you, without, I mean, I'm happy to have you list all of them and explain them all in detail, but more from like a very simple perspective, if you had to just explain to an absolute newbie who's never come across any yoga philosophy, theory, or history, what that actually means.
Yes, well, they are sort of the guidelines for the yogi and to follow. Um, as Dharma says, without yama niyama, yoga is like the spaghetti without the sauce, and I love that.
Yeah.
So the very first, um, so yama are uh, restraints, things that you want to try to avoid doing. So the very first yama is non-harming, and all the other yamas fall out of that. There's four other ones. So there's non-stealing, non-lying, non-coveting, non-lusting, or brahmacharya, thinking of God all the time, basically. Um, so yeah, non-harming is the main goal. And because if you're not harming, how can you lie or steal or cheat or do anything against somebody else? And then the niyama are things that I like to think is like cultivating in your own life, things that you cultivate, like cleanliness, um, contentment. I love santosha, just being content in any situation, which in itself is an entire practice. If all you did is spend your whole life working on just trying to be content, not that you're not striving for something, you don't have goals, but you're okay with where you are right in the moment is huge. And then of course the last niyama, just self-surrender, surrender of the self to uh to God or the universe or whatever you like, Brahman. There's many names. But so yeah, so I find that reading helps me um sort of integrate those practices into my world outside of the yoga mat. Because let's face it, 23 and a half hours of the day, 22 and a half hours of the day, you're not on your yoga mat, right?
Yeah.
So
Good point.
the practice really, I think, is off the mat as
Yes.
much as on it.
Yes, that's cool. And then you also had made mention initially about this word swadhyaya that means self-study or study of the self. Here we are talking about books and that you are currently reading one by Prabhupada who, Krishna consciousness. Can you explain a little bit about what you're picking up on in relation to the bhakti yoga and how you're weaving that into your existing practices?
Yeah, he's so amazing. He has these little books he's published, and they're maybe 80 pages, 50 pages, but he also he did a a translation of the Gita, which I just this morning really started diving into, and it's fascinating. So his take is he approaches the yoga path really, like you said, from bhakti, from devotion. So it's making we are all basically, we have divine within us, and the best way to go through life is to serve that divinity within us and out there in the universe. So to make everything that you do an offering to Krishna. So he uses the word Krishna. Again, other people use different names, but Krishna, and making everything an offering. So to me, that's very inspiring because it takes the ego out of it. When you take the ego out of it, then expectation is not there. And so when you have no expectation, you're just doing it out of the joy of doing it as a gift or as a servant, if you will, of the divine, then there's joy. There's this joy, and he talks about it all the time. And so just trying to practice that is it's an amazing part of the practice to me. And I've actually been going back and rereading things because it's so dense. The things he's saying, there's so much in there. Um, so right now that's how it's inspiring me to really bring joy and to be think of everything you do as being of service.
Yes, great point. I remember hearing Dharma Mitra say, when we're practicing a yoga pose to offer it up like it's a prayer or like a gift, or kind of like what you were just saying in relation to not having any ego attached behind it, expectation, but just to kind of make each shape that we're doing as if it's like an offering. Can you talk a little bit about how you're able to integrate that idea into your practice, or ways that we could say we land in Anjanasana, monkey pose. And if we were to think in our mind, I want to offer this up to something bigger, larger than myself, how could we continue that line of inquiry or that sort of feeling or thought? Do you have any insights and ways that we could actually make that real in our yoga practice?
Oh, I love this question. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, most of us approach the yoga practice in when I say the asana, the actual physical postures, we approach the postures. Usually they're quite difficult in the beginning, and we're very much in our body and in our mind, and we're like, oh, I want to achieve that. Look at that person's doing that, or my body's not doing this. And at least for me in the beginning, there was a lot of like it was like a struggle, and it was very much about what is my body able to do, what am my body not able to do. But when you stop practicing like that and start practicing like I'm making the shape that my body's making today, and this is the shape it takes, and I'm giving this pose to the Lord, to God, to whoever needs it, whoever's out there suffering. Recently, a friend of mine's been having trouble moving. They think it might be Parkinson's, and she's moving very slowly. It's hard for her to balance. And so now when I practice, I'm thinking of her, just thinking,
Nice.
let me give this movement to her. And, I really feel like when you approach it that way, it's very healthy. It makes your practice healthy, and it also frees you up to explore in a way that you might not explore if you're doing it safe just for yourself.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good insight. I like that. Just that when you mentioned like imagining your friend that's having a tough time, and like almost like you're giving it to her, or like even just by meditating on her while you're doing it, like to wish that she will be able to regain and or have. Isn't that a fascinating thing about illness though, and in relation to that ability? Like I remember the first time I came across Ram Dass mentioning that him having a stroke was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to him, and that just blew my mind. Like, how could I embrace a physical illness or injury or disease and view that as the best thing that God or the universe could have given me, or just or if I look at it from just more of like like just an experience I've had. And that's just so amazing. I try to keep that in mind when I have little aches and pains, It's, that's like a minor test, and I wonder about the major test that, we all kind of don't know what's around the corner, right? So I can't help but think like I hope I could have that type of courage when and if. But that's a beautiful thing to say, I'm thinking about my friend and she's having this tough time. That's pretty amazing. It also makes me think a little bit about in relation to psychic development and or prayer, that I wonder how much power there is behind that thought, having that thought in that moment, like if she could pick up on that, if that actual energy actually does translate into some sort of situation. Any thoughts based off of all that?
Oh, I absolutely 100% believe in psychic transmission, no doubt about it. Um, so whether or not, me doing a posture comes into her mind, I do believe that the thought of being helpful can be transmitted psychically. Again, when I first met Dharma, one of the things on his flyer said, there are some things that can only be imparted psychically. And it made sense to me. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. But I absolutely believe in the power of prayer, of psychic transmission. Dharma's teacher wrote a whole book about it, which I have here. It's hard to find, but it's yoga and yogic powers. But he talks about setting the psychic alarm, and you'll wake yourself up when you want to wake yourself up. And so, and it goes way beyond that, but I absolutely believe that thoughts are things and that prayer definitely makes a difference. Um, Prayer, meditation, psychic transmission, there's many names that it goes by, but I feel like I've found it to be a powerful practice for me, to if I can't help somebody by either seeing them or being there for them, then I'll transmit it psychically. Here's a little bit of help for me today. And I really believe it. There's a book that I read a long time ago where Bruce Lee broke his leg somehow. And the doctor said it's going to take 12 weeks to recover. And Bruce Lee is like, well, I don't have 12 weeks, So he started meditating and he started sending energy and thought, and he would visualize. The power of visualization, I think, is very powerful. He would visualize his leg healing. And he sent all this energy and all this time. And he went in for a midweek, a 6-week checkup. And the doctor's like, oh my gosh, your bone's completely healed, but it's actually overhealed. So then he went back and he imagined sculptors chipping away and sculpting at it just to make the bone the perfect way that it needed to be. And it worked, So the power of visualization, athletes do it all the time. If you want to win something, you visualize yourself winning it over and over and over. Alex Honnold, I believe, the climber, is a big proponent of visualization. If you're going to climb a 3,000-foot rock face, you first have to visualize it in your mind and make it happen. And so the power of thoughts, I think, not only help you internally, but can be transmitted across the ether. So I absolutely, that's my belief. That's it. I feel like it's proven to be, at least to me, it's something that it is real.
Yeah.
Even though we can't see it or touch it.
I hear you. And I mean, if anything, just the shifting the mind frame from, if you're sitting in meditation, you made mention that you like to wake up early and, answers can come. And maybe you have a memory of somebody who did harm to you. And so therefore the mind could go down this whole staircase of like reliving it, thinking about it. You can get all meshed in this whole, almost like you're in the same feeling that happened in the same conversation or the same, and just processing, and to then spin that into, all right, I'm going to put light on that. Or I just want to try to shine a little light on that. It is pretty amazing, isn't it? Because it can completely transform that repetitive mulling through the mud over and over again. Like, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me too. I've been trying to do that lately. Just, as soon as I'm catching
Yeah.
myself going into that, like, there's that negative thing again that I just can't stop thinking about, just keeps bugging me, that relationship issue or that whatever issue. And to just be like, I'm sending it light right now. Like I'm thinking about love right now on that particular thing and try to rewire it somehow. Are you having any luck with that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
No, I
Yay.
love it. I love
Thank
that
you.
you're doing that. I want to interview you and hear more about
Oh,
what you're
well,
doing and how you're doing it. Um, so maybe we could talk
we
about
can
that
share
here
all
for a
these.
second.
Yeah. Share ideas. I hear you. That's what yeah, man.
Yeah, I absolutely. I feel like um someone gave me a mug and it just was like, let that shit go.
Yeah.
Um, that's what was on the
Yeah.
mug.
You can
So,
say it. You can say it.
okay.
I'm gonna list this as an explicit interview and don't have to worry about the kids 18 and
Oh
under.
no,
No, I'm
forgive
kidding,
me.
dude.
Sorry,
It's
that's what the
okay.
mug said.
No, dude, it's fine. I'm having fun with you. I've been actually getting into listing all of my podcasts as explicit, whether they are or not, just because I feel like nowadays just don't lead a kid in unless they, unless they I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Well, tell me more about what you were thinking with that mug in terms of like just
Well, I
let that
feel
crap
like
go. Yeah.
let it go. Yeah, let it go. And it's again, I read a lot. So there's the story of the monks, and I'm sure many of the listeners have heard it. You've probably heard it many times, but I'll just say it out loud again.
Yeah, tell me.
They're walking along a road and it's raining and it's muddy, it's not paved. And they have to cross the stream. And there's a woman there and she's got nice clothes on. She can't cross the stream without she's worried about, maybe falling or she's having trouble getting across. So one of the monks just instinctively just picks her up, carries her across the stream and puts her down on the other side. And they're walking back to the monastery and the younger monk is just fuming the whole time and fuming. And finally they get back to the monastery and the young monk says, I just don't get it. How could you have helped that woman? We've taken strict vows not to even look at women, much less to pick them up and carry them across. And how could you do that? And the older monk turned to the younger monk and said, I left the woman down there by the river. Are you still carrying her?
Mm,
And I love that because the younger monk couldn't let it go.
yeah. I have not
Couldn't
heard
let
that
it go.
story.
And I
I like
and I
that.
feel like that's a lot of the pain and the suffering that we feel in our life is not being able to just let it go. Let it put it in the river and just watch it while go down the river and let it go.
Yeah,
Let it
man.
go.
That's so
It's such
true.
a simple thing, but it's so hard because we want to hold on to stuff, memories, things that hurt us, relationships. And to kind of go back to what you were saying, I have found it helpful to, as I'm meditating, and if a memory does come up, to watch it like I'm watching it in a movie theater, like a disinterested third party. Like it didn't happen to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm just watching this memory replay on the screen. I'm seeing the younger version of myself. I'm seeing the other person usually who's involved, and I'm just watching it. There's no judgment. It's just watch it. It can't hurt you because you're just watching it from afar as like a witness. And I find it very helpful to be able to let go, to forgive, to move on, to do that practice. So that's
Yeah.
another
Amazing.
practice I find helpful.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool, man. I like these
Have you
ideas.
been
Thank
have you
you.
been able to do something like that? You're kind of
Yeah, I am, but I
open
like
that
the way
door.
that I love hearing how each of us have how we can relate to it. I mean, a couple of tricks now. I'm thinking a visualization of a river, letting it go down the river, and also, like you're saying, becoming even more third party ish. Maybe I'm rewatching, but still in the emotionalness of it. So I guess maybe having that trick of third partying a little further out, possibly. Maybe that could be a good bit of advice. I appreciate that because that makes sense. I like what
Absolutely.
you're saying. Watching it without or from a place of dispassion, where we're not still in it, still in it,
Still in it.
still in it.
And when I have those moments, and I have them all the time, we all do, it's, but who's mad? Who's sad? Who's hurt?
Mm, Mm,
Who is really hurt? It's the
mm,
ego. It's
hmm.
this sense of myself that's hurt. I, me, my. But who is really hurt? It's the ego that's hurt.
Yeah,
The
that's a good
true
point.
you that's shining in your heart is not hurt at all. It's just merely a witness. So when we're trapped, that's why there's a lot of talk about letting the ego go. And you read it in the Yoga Sutras that the ego is one of the obstacles. And of course, the ego gets hurt, it gets bruised. A lot of times there's physical trauma that whether you broke your leg or other kinds of trauma, you were in a burning house, who knows? I don't know. We all have trauma. But um, the body, I find, can heal sometimes quicker than the mind. And it's because we're holding on. So this idea of letting go is a big part of my practice, because
Yes.
I, like all of us, tend to hold on to ideas and things. But I found it very beneficial to let go.
I hear you, man. It's awesome, Jack. Can
Yeah,
you,
it's very
can you,
healing.
thank you. Can you tell me a little bit about a day in the life of a yoga teacher in Texas? I believe you live in Texas. Am I correct? You're
I
correct.
do live in
Okay.
Texas. Yeah.
Where in
Well,
Texas are
Todd,
you?
I'm in Dallas.
All right, cool. What,
I'm in
what,
Dallas.
is it, are you finding it easy to be a yoga teacher? And I mean, the Texas part, wherever we are in the world, I mean, each place does have a certain flavor to it. There's a certain amount of like acceptance for yoga or lack of acceptance. There's all those different variables that come into play. But I'd just love to hear a little bit about what you're finding as a yoga teacher, what some of the challenges you're facing and also some of the things that have really opened up for you because you are practicing teaching and being involved in leading others in yoga practice.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I really hope that you're enjoying this episode, and I just wanted to take a moment to announce a course that I'm really excited to release. It's a free course, and it's called 8 and 8 Learn 8 Limb Yoga in 8 Days. My goal is to help coach you along in the Ashtanga yoga practice in a way where we take just the sun salutations, the fundamental asanas, and the final breathing poses, break it down with some philosophy videos as well, explaining the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga in a very easy to use, friendly course that is totally free. Click the link below, check it out. Let me know what you think. All right, let's get back to the episode.
This is a great question. I wish I could. I'm speaking as I would say. I teach once a week now. Um, I used to teach many times a week, but over the years, as I've my day job, so to speak, has grown more and more. There's a lot more that I'm dealing with and responsible for, so I'm finding it's taking a lot of my time. Um, so I'm teaching once a week. Um, First of all, Dallas is an amazing community. Not only just in Dallas, but in the cities all around Dallas. One of my favorite studios is up in Richardson, um, run by Yasiri Mage. She's amazing. It's a hot yoga studio. That's I started in the hot yoga world. But I absolutely love YogaZama, where I'm at right now. Um, it's such a vibrant, warm, welcoming community, such a wide variety of teachers. So I think the opportunity in Dallas to take classes, to learn from great teachers, it's everywhere. There's such a vibrant community all over, all different kinds of yoga too. Um, some small mom and pop shops, some are more franchised and spread out. For me personally, I just feel like there's all kinds of opportunity in Dallas to teach, and I happen to fall into the community of YogaZama. Ali is the owner, and he was very welcoming and very supportive. And I absolutely love it. I think the students are receptive. In a bigger city like Dallas, I'm sure in New York and LA, and you're in Florida, right? You're in
Correct.
South Florida. So I'm sure like in the bigger you get all kinds of students who walk through the door, you know. Some students are really interested in the physical practice. They want to sweat and they want to work hard and feel the physicalness of the postures. And but there's such a wide variety. Other students are really interested in yoga nidra or pranayama practice, or you know, if I do a chant or two at the beginning of class, they're very curious about that, you know, and so they're, you know, it's some people maybe not so much, but other people, the people who are really into it, make a point to tell me about it afterwards and say thank you. That really was special to have that today. And so I try to you know, honor my teacher and the lineage that I'm teaching in, the Dharma lineage, and teach it the way that he's taught us. And you know, I'm finding that maybe not a lot of yoga teachers do the mantra at the beginning of class, or I really like to have a 10-minute shavasana, you know, and that's another thing that I really, it to me, it's like sacred time. So I try to spend those times on that. But um, yeah, I think Dallas is a vibrant community. I think there's all different kinds of great teachers out there. And I feel blessed to be able to share it
That's cool,
here in
man.
this community. Yeah.
Nice. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I've lived all over. Was born in Chicago, Illinois. And then I left when I was about 7 or 8, moved to Wilmington, Delaware. And then I grew up, I grew up in Atlanta. I spent my teenage, like my formative years there.
Nice.
The school in Florida, been in Texas 30 years. But we lived in Nashville for a while. And
Cool.
so, yeah, I've been all over.
Nice, nice. And I've only been through Dallas, but I hear it has, like what you said, a super vibrant yoga community and a ton of restaurants and food and you know, all sorts of different cuisine, and like it's just like a really fun city. That's cool, man. I'd like to visit. I've only been through.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you come, you have a place to stay.
Well, thank you.
And there really is a vibrant, Dallas has put a lot of emphasis into the city and the infrastructure, really trying to like create city parks, and the restaurant scene is amazing. Any kind of food you could ever want is here. But there's plenty of art and music, and if you can get over the triple degree heat for 3 months, you know,
Yes.
it's a beautiful place to be.
That's funny that you say that, because the driving through included a flat tire and being stuck on the side of a freeway in Dallas in the middle of summer. And it was so freaking hot. So I'm with you on that part. I was like, kind of like, I don't know about this old Texas thing. Okay. But you know, a flat tire on the side of the road anywhere is not fun when you're just waiting for some assistance to help you out.
Oh man, I don't envy you.
Classic, man. I hear ya. Well, you know, and then in relation to Dharma yoga, and like you said, like I want to hold true to that tradition, and you made mention coming up in the hot yoga world, and in that scene, there's very little, like I feel like there's maybe Sanskrit used for posture names, but there's not a lot of discourse about philosophy and or some of those other components. And so like adding a mantra in is kind of a big deal. Is that something that you find the longer you're with the yoga, it's easy for you to convey that type of passion for those things that maybe other people might be like, oh, that's a little weird. What is that? What's he doing over there? Like, you know, should I or shouldn't I? That type of thing. Are you finding that's getting a little easier the more you kind of put a little time into it? Because I know sometimes I'll hear questions from newer teachers that are wanting to bring that into their teaching and practice, but feel nervous. So I guess I'm looking for advice maybe that you could share for newer teachers on how to integrate some of the things that they're passionate about, but also feel a little bit wondering if people are going to receive it well.
Yeah. I would say if it comes from a place of authenticity, then I would say most of the time, the students are receptive to it. So if you have your own practice where you're chanting or doing your mantras, I would say definitely share it. And, you know, don't be afraid to share that part of the practice because you never know. There might be a student in there that really, really benefits. Lately I've been starting my classes off with pranayama and doing the color breathing, where we do different sounds to the chakras and go up the spine. And afterwards, people, because they really respond to it, and it feels there's a visceral feeling, in the body, and they feel it. And I think if you're doing it from a place that's genuine and you have your own practice where you're chanting Om or you have a mantra, don't be afraid to share it. You don't have to necessarily dwell on it. Sometimes I'll just say the mantra and move on. Other times, we'll repeat it 3 times, and then by the third time, people are chanting along. Sometimes I'll explain, like, Om is the sound, the original sound, the first sound. It contains all the other sounds. And, there's a vibrational thing that warms your body up and sort of wakes up your cells. Like the vibration, everybody knows the power of music. Well, that's really what a mantra is. It's just a vibration. And so it's a nice way to start class because it kind of signals to all your cells in your body like, hey, let's get going. It's time to be here, be here now. So I have found that there's some people are less receptive to it, and I'm just okay with it, because I think most people are receptive to it, and that's okay. If the people who aren't receptive to it, that's okay. There's plenty of other places where they don't have to chant and still get a great yoga class.
Yeah, great point. And what's the worst thing that has ever happened to you because you shared something you loved and someone didn't like it? No one toilet papered your car or anything out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
No tomatoes were thrown.
No tomatoes were thrown. Yeah.
Good point. All right.
Well, I suppose the worst thing is they didn't come back. But, that's fine.
I know that's a really interesting thing too, though, isn't it? In terms of honoring that there is something for everybody and not being attached to me not being that everybody for them. Like, isn't that a pretty amazing process too, as a teacher, to like let go of like, oh, they came once and I really don't know if they liked it or not. I mean, in the whole marketing world of yoga, like sometimes you'll see people then like, okay, well, let me check up with them with a text message, or let me email them right after, or let me call and check in with them. And sometimes that just seems like too much. It's like I feel like I just want to give people a little bit of space, and maybe they just, who knows what's going on. Some other thing has come around. I'm just curious, what are your feelings or thoughts on that sort of, how do I say this the right way? Like just dominant kind of marketing versus just space, giving space. Cause like in the business world, we're taught to, you got to do better. You could get more. You're going to get more if you push, if you really follow up, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like there's something about yoga where it's just nice to give a little space. And I don't know how do you feel about all that?
I love that. I love giving space. I think we all need more space, especially today. So many things are coming at us. How many blips and bleeps are on our phone? How many red circles with numbers in them are on our phones right now, right? And we feel like we need to answer that, or there's a sense of anxiety around it. So I love the space idea. I think it's amazing. And, by day, I'm in marketing and advertising. So we're, there's always trying to reach consumers and do things like that. But I do think that it's refreshing. And I think we all need a little bit of space and quiet. And I'm how do I say, not so involved in marketing myself as a yoga teacher. So because I do it all day, every day for everyone else, I feel like at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is like market myself out there. So if you visit my Instagram page, it's pretty thin, but my wife has to say, please get on Instagram and look at the messages I've sent you today. So I'm learning to use it more. But I do feel like I can understand that there's a sense of pressure that teachers might feel to do more, make more. And I think that's where the practices of space or contentment, going back to what we
Yeah.
said earlier, you know, can
Yeah.
you be content with, you know, at one point I went to I was having a conversation with Ali, and, you know, he was the owner of the studio. And I was like, you know, I know there's not a lot of students coming. You know, I know we need more. And he's like, they'll come. And I was like, good. That's how I feel. I just hope you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, it's been growing, but it takes that space and that patience. So
It
I
do-
love that you're doing that.
well, it does take time. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, I mean, you know, I think probably all of us have this like expectation / hope that we're going to start teaching in our classes. Like we see pictures of studios where there's like really large attendance and, you know, and then there's that humility that comes when one person shows up and, you know, we teach that one person and we have an incredible class, incredible experience with them. Like, even if the mind is a little like, oh no, I'm going in, I got one, and the studio owner is going to be bummed that I'm not doing my job with my marketing and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But then you have this really great connection. I'm a big fan that it begins with one, and one is the same as having 20 or 5 or 25 or 35. You know what I mean? Like in terms of if you can really get into the moment with that one person. Can you talk a little bit about some of the experiences you've had in relation to that? I mean, you kind of just
Oh
did.
my
But
gosh.
yeah.
Yes, yes. So, you know, I've taught 40, 50 people classes before, and it's amazing. The energy coming at you is amazing. The energy in the room, the focus. Um, but I've also taught those one people classes, and it gets to be almost like a private class. Basically, it is a private class because it's you and the student. And I've had several times where nobody showed up, and so I would just do the practice myself. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, I'm gonna plant the seeds and create the energy that
nice.
people will come.
Nice.
And maybe it's not an hour-long practice, right? Maybe it's a 30-minute practice or something, but I do the practice to honor that space and that time so that when people are ready to come and receive it, they will. And so, yeah, I've had the 0 people, and it is humbling, and 1 person and 2 people and 3 people. But I love both of them for different reasons. Obviously, when you have more people, it's good for the studio. There's a financial aspect to it, and the energy can be really nice. On the other hand, when you have 1 or 2 people, they can ask questions. We can stop. I can say, "Hey, are you interested in mantra, or have you ever any questions about yoga philosophy or breathing practices?" And we can take time and talk about things. And I do think that everything is happening perfectly. And it's a hard practice because, man, I just saw something on Instagram. They had 70 people in the park, and I had 1 person on Saturday
Yeah.
morning. But that
Yes.
person is right. That's the person I'm supposed to have right here, right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and vice versa. And so it is humbling, but I say a dose of humble pie is always good. It's always good
Yes.
to eat some humble pie. Yeah,
For
because
sure.
humility is one of our best teachers.
I hear you, man. And it's funny when I was looking through prior to our conversation today, I noticed that you or that you are friends with Francisco Morales and Salim, who I was so happy to have a chance to have them on the podcast here. They're through the organization Synergy.yoga. And I was really excited to see that you're also friends with them and that it's what a small world the yoga world kind of is. Can you talk a little bit about, have you been able to go on retreat or what are your feelings about yoga retreats and traveling and practicing in different locations and or leading them?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I just wanted to give you a heads up that we have an online program called nativeyogaonline.com, and there's a code, all caps, first month free. We upload our daily classes that we teach here at Native Yoga Center, making it accessible for you no matter where you are in the world at any time of the day and or night that you want to practice. We're here for you. All right. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Let's get back into it.
Oh, well, um, I've never led a retreat, but I would love to do it. So there's that. I think a retreat is a great way to practice yoga because you're out of your normal bubble, your normal day-to-day family, 9 to 5, whatever you're doing, and you're in this place to be there for yourself. And whether it's an all-day yoga retreat type situation or whether yoga is just part of it and there's other excursions within the area that you're learning about new cultures and new things, I think it's a fantastic way to practice yoga. Um, One of the books I'm reading by Vishnu Devananta, he was big on yoga vacations, he called them back in the day. I think he was one of the first people to do them back in the 60s or 50s. But yeah, I think it's a great experience for you as a yoga, whether you're a yoga teacher, you're a first time practitioner, or you've been doing it a long time, to change up your routine and explore your practice in a different way in a different culture. I think is always really, really healthy. Francisco and Salim are amazing. I've known Francisco 20 years, 25
Oh,
years at this
nice.
point.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been in the hot yoga community and we've just been friends and we've partnered on projects over the years.
Cool.
Um, and he's just a really dear friend. And so, yeah, I would love to lead a retreat as we talked about before. I had plans to do it and it didn't work out this year, but it's all happening when it's supposed to happen. Um, and I think as a teacher, there's an opportunity to get to share things on a retreat that you might not be able to share in 60 minutes, on a Saturday. Or you might get to know your students a little bit better, um, and maybe share some of the knowledge you have that might be beneficial to them. Because you never know who's walking through that door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you never know what's going on in their life, in their body, in their mind. So I think a retreat is a special experience that I've only been on one or two of them, and I really enjoyed them both. Actually,
Ve-
I think it's just one. Yeah,
Nice. I
really
hear you.
enjoyed it.
I hear you, Jack. This morning I have a little diary called the Sunrise Manifesto, and it's just a real simple thing to just kind of think of some gratitude and maybe just write a little bit about whatever thoughts are going on. And so there's the same question every single day. And it's one of the harder questions that I stumble on. So I'm going to ask you this question and just see what your answer. Yeah, I know, right? I know. I mean, I really wrestle with this one every morning, and it's like it slows me down. What could you have done better yesterday?
Oh, gosh.
Right? I don't know
That's a
why.
great
It's a
question.
great question, and I struggle with it every morning because the things that are like, okay, something you're grateful for in relation to something you've been given or you earned. Well, that's not so hard. I mean, I'm happy I have a cup of coffee. Great. I guess I earned this cup of, whatever it is, like that's not hard. But when it comes to this one question, what could I have done yesterday better? I just want to hear how you mull this out in your own mind. I just like to kind of see like maybe I'm missing something. I mean, I can always think of things that I could have done better, but then I also don't want to be so hard on myself that I should have that I should be judging myself that like, wow, I really could have done that better. But I think it's a very valuable thing to look back and kind of think about. I'm just not so sure about it at the same time. I'm like wondering whoever wrote this question in this journal, if they had some like really deeper reason why they're probing all of us every day on this one, because I don't know the psychology of looking back and, now obviously if I created harm on someone, that would be something I could, if ahimsas are underpinning alignment that we want to base a lot of our yogic practice off of,
Hmm.
then if I harm someone, that would be somewhere where I'd say, okay, I could have done better. So then if I start going through my day and thinking about, well, who did I harm? Who did I harm? Who did I harm? And then you start like analyzing a little bit more like, well, if there was a lesson in the experience of the interaction, right? Like if I just pick, say, a family member and I think, I harmed him by, yelling at him that he didn't do his dishes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I needed to teach him that you got to do the dishes, dude. Like you got to put the dish from the sink into the dishwasher. Like, why are you thinking me and your mom are just here to do, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's a funny thing because I think almost every interaction happens for a certain reason, but at the same time, I think it's valuable. Okay, I'll let you go now. I've talked a lot now that you've had a little bit of time.
No,
to
I
hear
love
me.
it. I love it. I want to just hear you keep talking
All
about it.
right now.
Well, I guess I would say, I could probably have done almost everything better.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
However,
But how could you?
I've done my best that day. I try to do my best every day, right? We all try to do our best. That's all we can do. And it is a bit of a tricky question because inherent in the question is the statement that you didn't do something good yesterday.
Yeah.
As I said, there's probably just about everything I did probably could have done better. However, I wonder if the better question is, how can I be better tomorrow?
I
Which
like
is
that.
a more positive sort of spin on the same question.
Yes.
And it takes me to something that I was just telling my daughter the other day.
This is good because now we're getting into parenting stuff, which is like this is the real meat and potato, the real solid stuff right here.
The real yoga practice, being a parent. Absolutely. I will tell you, you really know if you're a yogi when you're dealing with kids. That will just really show you, are you patient? Can you be kind? Are you content? So yeah, it was something I ran across, I think on Instagram, even though I don't get on it very often, but I found this, it was a quote, and I'm going to misquote who said it, but I think it was an athlete, and I want to say it was something they had learned from maybe another athlete, like maybe Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or somebody. And it was this idea of trying to do one thing better each day. Just one thing better each day. And if you really try to do one thing better each day, then after 7 days, I mean, you're 7 times better maybe than you were 7 days ago,
Yes.
and then a month and a year from now, 365, trying to be a little bit better. And what does that mean? Well, that's up to you as an individual to decide. Maybe it's just being a little bit nicer. Maybe it's listening a little bit more. Maybe it's just cleaning the counter, telling your son or your daughter to clean their dishes. And that was you being a better parent, right? So I think trying to this process of constantly, I think it's helpful, that question, to go back and look at what could I have done. But being a word person, the construction of that question is a little tricky, and it kind of takes you down this negative path, forcing you to give sort of a negative answer in a way.
Thank you, Jack.
So I wonder if you flipped it.
I'm going to write this down, actually.
Maybe that's the better way to go.
What could I do better either today or tomorrow? Right?
Yeah.
I think that's how you framed it.
Like, how can I improve a little bit? And it doesn't have, the thing is, it's a small thing.
Yeah.
It should not be a big thing. It's like, oh, I watered my plants today.
Yeah.
A day early.
Good point.
Done. Okay. They're happy.
Just to pick one little thing and then be consistent with it, right? To be consistent with it. Like that's the real, and I guess from a yoga perspective, if we analyze our yoga practice, what could I do? How could I do my yoga practice better? How could I improve my yoga practice? And then, wow, I mean, there's so many ways we could go. I could read a little bit. I could try to breathe a little slower in that pose. I mean, it's like endless, right? There's endless little things we could pick up on.
Endless little things. And it becomes this canvas for you to paint on. And yeah, you're right. Like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this posture for 10 years this way, but what if I approached it this way as a offering? Or what if I, maybe struggled a little bit less in this posture and just kind of settled into it? Or, what if on and on. What if I breathed and a little bit more consciously? What if I just sat up straighter, just for 5 minutes, or whatever. And I think it's a powerful practice that he was a very successful athlete. Forgive me. I don't remember who it was, but
That's okay.
I think it's a practice that people who um, find success and joy, I think they kind of naturally, a little bit each day, they try to, and sometimes that means going backwards, right? Like sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, today was muddy. I was in the mud all day. There was nothing good about today. But you know what? That thing that I screwed up, I learned.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lesson.
Yeah.
There's never really anything bad that happens. It's just a lesson. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, that bad thing happened,
That's
but
a
now
huge,
I'm smarter.
yeah. Yeah. That's a huge realization, isn't it? Like learning, being able to see those tough challenges as like, oh my gosh, I'm stronger, better. I grew, I learned. That's huge,
Yeah,
Jack. That's
it's
huge.
huge.
That's
So hard
huge.
to do.
Well,
But
tomorrow morning, when I get to that question, I'm going to reframe it the way that we propose. What could I do better today
yeah,
and or tomorrow? And then I'm going to get back to you and let you know what kind of how that changed for me, because it's been
please
funny
do.
for about 6 months now. I've been doing this one each morning. And I'm just like, and today I wrote, this question just slows me down, man. I'm like on a roll here, and I get to this one, and I'm like, I got to get going here, and like, so anyway, I'm going to see if this works for me. I really appreciate that. I enjoyed this so much, Jack. I love getting to just have a nice, a casual conversation and hear about how yoga is inspiring you and moving you forward in life. And I really appreciate you taking time. And, I want to let everybody know that they can find you in the description, or little buttons they can click. And your Instagram is there at Jack Westerholt. And I'm also going to include at YogaZama for the studio that you teach at. Is there anything you'd like
Thank you
to?
so much.
Oh man, of course. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with today? In conclusion of our conversation, any thoughts or feelings that you want to just kind of share with us for us to exit on?
Well, I just like to say you live very close to my family
Oh,
in
cool.
Florida,
Oh,
not too
wow.
far
Well,
away.
where are they?
So I'm hoping that when I'm there, we can visit and
Oh,
have a
yeah,
conversation,
man.
whether we have another one of these or we just kind of hang out. It would
Yeah,
be great
that'd be
to
awesome,
spend
Jack.
another
What
couple
what
hours.
general area are they in? You don't have to.
My brother's in like Fort Lauderdale Lighthouse Point,
Oh, cool.
and then my parents are in Wellington, so
Oh
that's
man, super close. 30 minutes,
not too,
Wellington.
yeah, 30
Yeah,
minutes.
30 minutes. Oh, well, definitely let me know when you're in this area, and we'll get something organized.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I will for sure, for sure, for sure. A final parting thought. Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
You
I
know,
should prepare you for this at the beginning. Like at the end, I'm going to ask you for a
I'm
final.
gonna
But I try not to give you any, I try not to give any of my guests any idea where we're going, because I feel like organic is my favorite. But
I love
so
organic.
we'll see what comes out here organically.
Organic food.
Ah,
Now I'm
okay.
thinking organic food.
Well, there we
Eat
go.
organic food. Start there.
Yeah, there you go.
It's probably not one thought, it's probably several thoughts. I would say um continue to practice your yoga um all hours of the day. It's a way of life. For me, it's a way of life. Um, and you have the opportunity to do that, whether you're just being kind or being content. Be receptive to what the universe is showing you at the moment. I think everything and everyone is a teacher, and the biggest teacher is right there in your heart. So go into your heart when you have doubts or you're not sure. Try to find a place to get quiet. If you can't get quiet, be patient until you can get quiet. Often in nature is the best. And keep up the good work. I know that we're all trying our best. So keep up the good work. Be receptive. Be kind.
Yes, Jack. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we do some mantra at the end?
Yeah, let's do it. You got one for me?
Should we just do an om?
Yeah, that's a reasonable one. Ready?
Okay. Just do a nice exhale. Nice inhale.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Jack. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Native Yoga Toddcast is produced by myself. The theme music is dreamed up by Bryce Allen. If you like this show, let me know. If there's room for improvement, I want to hear that too. We are curious to know what you think and what you want more of, what I can improve. And if you have ideas for future guests or topics, please send us your thoughts to info@Native Yoga Center. You can find us at nativeyogacenter.com. And hey, if you did like this episode, share it with your friends, rate it and review, and join us next time.